Okay, just for the replay gang. So this is my first time going live. Um, I am planning to do a couple of languages today, mainly just two, just to see how this goes because this is my first time using the software and things like that. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be studying Akkadian and Sumerian today, but I want to see how like everything goes first and make sure everything's all good. So yeah, so let's see how this goes. So typically, how I learn, for those that are new and that don't know, what I do is I take notes. So I have my Babylonian or Akkadian book here, my notebook, and then my Sumerian one here. And then I'm going to try to put the book on the screen. That way you can see the book that I'm using. And then I'm going to play some audio in the background because what I do is I listen to audio in the background while I'm studying. So I actually don't remember where I left off for either language. So we might just kind of do a quick review. So let's go ahead and do that. So this is the book I'm using for. I know this is complete Babylonian, but the language that they go over in this book is Akkadian. So this one is by Teach Yourself. Teach Yourself, I recommend. I haven't really used a complete like Teach Yourself before, so all like this format is new. I'm used to like the Teach Yourselves that kind of look like the white ones, so like these ones I'm used to. So I might pull this out, whatever. But I'm hoping to do this kind of regularly, and kind of like the fun aspect I want to do is like I want to like make a wheel and spin the wheel to see what languages I'm going to be studying that day. So, but for now, just to see how this goes, I want to just pick the languages I wanted to study today. So that's why I chose Akkadian and Sumerian. But let me see this real quick. Okay. Yeah. Let's just go ahead and get started. Cool. So, I'm not sure where I left off. It looks like I left off chapter 6. Yeah. So let's go ahead and look at chapter 6. Okay. Okay. So this, I guess this talks about nouns and adjectives and kind of gives you an idea. So let me see if I can pull this up. It's kind of loud on my end, so I wonder if there's a way to like lower it.
إتبيما جلجمش شونتم إبشار السقرام أنا أمي شو أمي إنشات مشيتيا شمخاكما التنلك إنبيريت إكلوتين Ibsirunimma kakkabu shamai. Kisrom sha'anim imqutam anatseria. Ashishuma iktabiteliya. Unissuma nushashu ul-LTE. Uruk.
So, I actually found out about this website here. I went to the Getty was it last year or is it 2 years ago at this point? And they had a lot of Mesopotamian objects, things in cuneiform and stuff like that, and they had like what did the Babylonian language sound like, and there was a clip. I'm not sure if it was this particular one, but this guy's voice sounds like familiar, like that's the one. So as I previously said, I would have like this in the background while I'm reading to myself. So I'm gonna see if I can kind of like lower the volume a bit because it is kind of loud. So let's see if I can lower it a little bit.
Gilgamesh shunatam ipashar. Issaqaram ana ummishu. Ummi inashat mushitiya. Shamchakuma at-tanalak. Inabirit etlu.
This is gonna be a learning thing. Totally learning process. So Babylon has no articles, so no the, a, and so sharu, ilu. So one thing I like to do is I like to kind of read aloud. So I already kind of know how to read it a little bit. There might be things I don't remember exactly. Okay. Command stem sharum. Sharu, so Sharu, King, Sharum. Three cases. Nominative, accusative, and genitive. Nominative and accusative, it's the only like case system that because some of these are like kind of odd that I don't remember. The only reason why I heard of these is because I studied Latin, and Latin has a lot of cases and genitive and vocative and all those different ones. So yeah, vocative. Words like sometimes display no case vowel. Sabit, sabitum, belu, beli. Grammatical gender. English has two genders for people, masculine and feminine, and one for objects, neuter, he, she, it. It has two masculine and feminine. Thus, if one is animals and not would have picture he or she. So kind of like Spanish, right? Spanish has masculine and feminine, and things like a table, like la mesa, would be like feminine, right? So I kind of want to go ahead and replay that. See, so where did I leave off? Okay, so my notes say Akkadian, Babylonian. Since the book's saying Babylonian, it's like my words are getting all mixed up. Has no articles, no the, a, n. Sharu is king, Ilu is gods. Okay, but I guess I should review kind of how you. I don't want to like misspeak. So there's a glottal stop, I guess, which is I'm used to that. A, e, h is h. I is e as in b. Q is k or k. I'm assuming it's k. I'm not sure. It's because in my notes it says Akkadian is related to Arabic, Hebrew, and other Semitic languages. And in Arabic, k has k, like kaf, like study Arabic. It's like the one that has like this and the two dots, kaf. So I'm assuming it's more like that. S with the dot under it is or and T with the dot is like t. Then U is like U, pool, pool. And then there's some abbreviations. OB is Old Babylonian, MB is Middle Babylonian, and SB is Standard Babylonian. So
Elishu Bahru, Hatsinuma Shani
Okay.
Bunushu,
And then
Arushuma Ahtadu Anaku,
the different cases. Nominative, subject of the sentence. Accusative is direct object. Genitive is in, to, or of. Okay, it says to form feminine equivalents, you add T to the masculine stem. So that's kind of what they're doing here. So this is saying, so belu, to say lady, beltu. Okay. Then rimu, bull, rimtu, wild cow. So it looks like, see, okay, because, so I'm guessing bel would be the stem, and you just add tu, beltu, rimtu, sharatu, tamku, tamkatu, tamku. Because here, tamku, tamku, tamku. Because it kind of gives, is either a glottalized K, which would make it tamku, or it's the cough, as I previously mentioned. Tamkatu would be the feminine way to say good. Tamkatu. So, tamkatu. If a noun which does not have T after the three, it's feminine. If a noun which does not have T after the three root letters is feminine. Inum. If a noun which does not have T after the three root letters is feminine. Inum. Am I missing something? Feminine equivalents of masculine nouns and adjectives are formed by adding T or AT, which in some forms are ET. The T is known as the feminine T. If a noun which does not have T, I'm not sure if I understand what's being not sure what's kind of being asked. Feminine equivalents of masculine nouns and adjectives are formed by adding T or AT. Okay, yeah. It's belu, beltu, rimu, rimtu, sharu, sharatu, tamku, tamkatu. See, yeah, okay, I don't know if that does that make sense? If a noun which does not have T after the three root letters is feminine. This is stated in the glossary. Inum. Okay. That's probably why I didn't say anything, because probably why I didn't write it down, because I didn't understand what they were talking about. Probably. I don't know. Knowing a noun's gender is important because it determines the form of words which qualify it or refer to it. For instance, if one wanted to say it's in Babylonian, this would be literally his or her. So shu, sha, depending on whether referring to was masculine or feminine. Adjectives has separate forms. So yeah. So I think it's like a lot of languages, like Latin, for example, since we're talking about ancient languages today. The Latin, it has to be agreement. So if you have a masculine noun, it has to be a masculine adjective, feminine noun, feminine adjective, so on and so forth. So there has to be agreement. So rimu kadru, rampaging wild bull. Rimu would be the masculine. Kadru would be the rampaging, the masculine form. Rimtu would be the wild cow, so it's the feminine wild bull. And Kadirtu would be rampaging, the feminine form. So Rimu Kadru, Rimtu, Kadirtu. So, and then yeah, they also probably have to agree in number. So, oh, they have dual. So yeah, they have 3 grammatical numbers: singular, dual, and plural. So this is quite odd for people that learn languages. That because most people would learn languages like, if you're learning Italian or French or whatever, there's no dual form. It's either singular or plural. But languages, especially just, Native American languages in particular. So I think a good example would be like Hawaiian. Hawaiian, I think, has a dual form. And also, yes, no, and I think also like Chumash, Chumash has a dual form, so it's separate from, so it's specifically two. That's why they call it dual. So 1, 2, more than 3 or more. Okay, so that might be kind of different because it's like more to remember, obviously, right? Because you have a dual form and it's obviously more to remember. Okay, so adjectives don't really follow the nouns they qualify. Sharu Rabu, the great king, but in poetic language, the opposite can happen. In poetry, a noun and its adjective can be separated by a verb. So this is from the Gilgamesh. So Patri Ishpuku Rabutim. So let's try that again. Patri Ishpuku Rabutim. Tim Im Rabutim. Patri Ishpuku Rabutim. And Obi, Old Babylonian. Agreement between nouns and adjectives, kind of what I said earlier. You have to, nouns and adjectives, since they have gender, right? Nouns and adjectives have to agree with each other in terms of what gender. Okay. Agreement between nouns and in apposition. A word is in opposition to another word when it's juxtaposed to it and its functions like an epithet of it. That's my daughter, Marigold. Oh, so it's right next to it. Is in opposition to my daughter. In Babylonian, nouns in opposition agree in case with the nouns that qualify. Inakabit Ashur Belia. So Ashur and Belia, I'm assuming, right? Asur stands in the genitive case, so my lord, which is in opposition to Asur, also stands in the genitive case. Ashur Belia. 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 Inakabit Klibit Ashur Belia. Okay, so did I write that? And the last thing, so I wrote Sharu Rabu and Patri Ishpuku Rabutim. And the nouns must agree with adjectives. So this is where I left off.
Itbema Gilgamesh Shunatam Ipashar Issaparam Ana Ummishu Ummi Inashat Mushitiya Shamcha Kuma Atanalak Inabirit Eklutim Ipsirunimma Kakkabu Shamai Kisrom Sha'anim Imkutam النصيرية الشيشوما اكتبيتلية ونسوما نشاشو الالتئي وركماتم باخر إليشو اتلتم ونشقو شبيشو ومدما بوتي إيميدوياتي أشياشوما أدبلشو أناتسيريكي أمي جلجمش مديات كلامة السكرام أنا جلجمش
What is the
من
degree in
دي
gender, right?
جلجمش شكيماكاتي
When it's
إناتسيري
juxtaposed to it and
ولدما
functions like
ورب
an
الشوشدو
epithet,
دمر شما تخدو
must
أتا
agree in case
اتلوتم
with the
ونشقو
nouns.
شبيشو تدرشما تترشو أناتسيرية سيريا اتلما إيتامرشنيتام إتبي إيتاويام أنا
إنك
أميشو
بيت أشور
أمي
بالية.
آتامرشنيتام لكن quelque chose إن سوقتم شا بروك في بيتم خاتسينو نديما إليشو بحرو خاتسينو ما شاني بنوشو عمرشو ما أختدو أناكو رامشو ما كما أشتم أحبو بإلشو القيشو ما أشتكنشو أنا أخيا أمي جلجمش مديات كلامة السقرام أنا
بيت
جلجمش.
أشور.
Après, il y a une lacune. Petite.
Okay. So, Ashur in Belia. Ashur, it says it's in the genitive case. So, my lord is also in the genitive case. And I think I wrote down what genitive means in the beginning. Genitive in, to, or of. So, yeah, so this Ashur, so that's of Asur, my lord. So, of my lord. So, Ashur is in genitive case. So, I'm assuming Belia. Okay. Words functioning as nouns. Adjectives, both masculine and feminine, can be used as nouns. Tabu, tabu, a good masculine singular, can mean a good man or the good man. Tabtu can mean a or the good woman. Tabu, tabtu. Feminine adjectives are often used as abstract nouns. Tabtu can also mean goodness. When they are so used, this is indicated in the glossary. Tabtum. The M in brackets is explained below. Mimation? The first time I heard of that. Okay, so adjectives can be used as nouns. Tabu, tabtu, and then sometimes, or often, I guess, feminine adjectives are used abstractly. So see if I can find a different recording. I listened to that one like a few times already, so let's try another one. So I kind of like the Gilgamesh, but let's try another 85 through 60. Let's try this Jacob Klein here. See how he sounds.
ידבמה גילגמש שונתם בשר יסקר עם אנה ומישהו ומי ינשת מושיטיה שמחה קומה התנלק אינה בירית את לוטים יבזירונים מה קקבו שמאי שענים עם כותם הנצריה השישומה
I don't see right there. That's not gonna help me because he can't. It seems like he can't pronounce the Q. Duh. So let's see if Miss Stephanie knows how to do it. The K, because if you got K, then you know, kind of need the K to get a sound more authentic.
Itbima Gilgamesh Shunatam Ipashar Isakaram Ana Umishu.
That sounded didn't sound right to me. So let's try some Mr. Wasserman.
ידבמה גילגמש שונתה מפשר יזכרם אנה ומישהו.
It's a little better. It's a little better. Because at least he has some karam. Itzakaram. Right. Maybe I should try to read this. After I finish the chapter, I'll go ahead and read this. So I can stop hating on them. Oh, I forgot to leave it on.
ידבמה גילגמש שונתה מפשר יזכרם אנה ומישהו ומי ינשת מושיטיה שמחה קומה התנלק אינה בירית את לוטים.
A little loud.
ידבמה גילגמש שונתה מפשר יזכרם אנה ומישהו ומי ינשת מושיטיה שמחה קומה התנלק אינה בירית את לוטים יבזירוני מה קקבו שמאי קיצרום שענים עם כותם הנצריה השישומה כתבי דליה וניסומה נוששו ולאלתהי ורוקמתום פחי ולישו את לוטום ונשקו שבישו מדמה פוטי עם מידו יעתי השיישומה את בלשו הנצריקי ומגילגמש מודת כלמה יזכרם אנה גילגמש מנדי גילגמש שקימה קאתי ינצרי וליתמה ורבישו שדו תמרשומה תחדו עתה תתלותו ונשקו שבישו תתירשומה תתרשו הנצריה תילמה תמר שניתם יתבי יתאוואם אנה ומישו ומי התמר שניתם ינסוקים שאורוק רביתם חצינו נדימה אלישו פחרו חצינומה שני בונושו אמורשומה אכתדו ענקו הרמשומה כמעשתים אחבו אלשו מקשומה אשתקנשו אנכיה ומגילגמש מודת כלמה יזכרם אנה גילגמש אשום שתמחרו איתיקה גילגמש שונתה מפשר אין קידוושי מחר חרמתים אורתמו קיללו צרם עם תאשי אשר יבלו.
Honestly, he sounded really good. Probably the best. Says the first guy. The first guy was good too, but I like the way he speaks.
ידבמה גילגמש shunata mipashar. Izakaram ana umishu. Umi
Okay, let's find out this mimation,
shamchakuma
especially those attached displayed M in brackets at the end of the form. This means that the M can be present but need not be. And this M is known as mimation, from meme, when it occurs at the end of a word without the particle M. This is usually present in Old Babylonian and usually absent in later periods. It began to be lost in the spoken language already towards the end of the Old Babylonian period, 1500 BC, but owing to their liking for traditional spellings, scribes wrote it sporadically and sometimes haphazardly. I've never seen that word written ever. Haphazardly? That's how you spell it? I thought it was like half, and then hazardly. I didn't know it was one word. Anyways, even after it was completely vanished from the spoken language, when the word was followed by the particle ma, mimation was protected and continued to exist even in the first millennium BC. Okay. So if I see an M in brackets, the scribes at the time, it was like they knew it had to be there, but it was like they knew that that's not what they heard. Kind of, if I'm understanding correctly, like when I'm speaking it, and if I see the M in parentheses, then I don't need to say like sharum, it's just sharu. But in the scribes, it was there. Interesting. But unless it's ma, if it's the particle ma, then you say the ma. Excuse me. See M in parenthesis, then I don't need to say it. So sharum, sharuma, sharu, but sharuma. Okay, so in Old Babylonian it was sharum. I think Sharu is king, right? Sharu. Yeah, Sharu is king. So in Old Babylonian they say sharum, but it became sharu, unless they're using sharuma, then it was there. And one thing I gotta say that's for me is there's typically a lot of these books there's a ton of information. But I always try to either put it into my own words or try to just extrapolate the main points because you don't want to rewrite the book, right? Like obviously the book's already written, so there's no need to write everything down. So like I just kind of write like snippets of like except for the words. The words, of course, you want to write down because obviously that's the point of learning a language, right? You're trying to use the words and learn the words. So like tabu or abtu and stuff like that. And also the main point of that, what they said was, the adjective. I put nouns can be used as nouns. So word adjectives can be used as nouns, and they can could be the noun good, or they could be the good man, good woman, and then it's often the feminine is used for abstract nouns like goodness, and then from this kind of thing about the M not like it's there but it's not there in spoken language, I just kind of wrote like if I see an M in parentheses, then no need to say it. Okay, and then I give their example of the sharum and sharu, and kind of except when you're saying the ma, right? I guess I should write that down. Only in the case of ma, the particle ma, then the M is said. Go. And name and epithets. Let's listen to this guy one more time.
יתבמה גילגמש, שונתה מפשר. יזק כרם אנה ומישו. ומי ינשת מושיטיה.
Names and epithets can stand in the nominative, even though the grammar will lead one to expect generic. Some names do not have a case vowel. Unlike modern Western names, with whose original meanings are no longer recognizable, Babylonian names usually had a clear meaning. They varied in length from just one word, shaluru, plum, to an entire sentence. In this book, when several words form a name, they are joined by a dash, or an in dash. I didn't know that was a word either. Babylonian singulars correspond to English plurals. If one were to behold a pile of slain warriors, one would speak of the bodies of the warriors' bodies, but because there are many of them, instead Babylonian would usually say the body of the warriors, because each warrior only has one body. Similarly, where English would say the cats lifted their tails, the cats lifted their tail. Okay. Est. Oh, so we're talking about superlatives here. Big est. Actions do not have comparative or superlative forms. The idea of something being more or less than something else is conveyed by eli, which translates as than. Eli balutu baltuti ima idu mituti. The dead will be numerous upon the living. The dead will be more numerous than the living. Eli baltuti ima itu mituti. So, there's no biggest. It's just use Eli. Eli. Eli baltuti ima itu mituti. Mituti, that kind of sounds like Italian. Tutti. So, Eli, which, so, there is no superlatives. Use the word Eli upon over. For comparison. So this is standard. Eli baltuti ima idu mituti. And it's important to, at least for me, to try to read as much as I can. Because even though I'm reading, but if I'm reading aloud, I'm pretty much speaking the language, right? But these thoughts aren't coming from my own head. So you want to, at least, well, the way I go about learning is, I read and read and read, and to the point, and then I start to understand how the language works. That way I could make these thoughts on my own, That's when you start speaking, is when you're able to have some, even if it's very basic, like this is I know this is chapter 6, but this is kind of like the real first chapter. Of course it's going to, take 2 or 3 chapters of stuff, whatever language you're learning, to get an idea of how to make basic sentences, even if it's something silly as I see the dog, or you see the cat, or I don't know, or I know, I speak, stuff like that. Something so simple, even if it's 2 or 3 words, if you can come up with that on your own, started forming these ideas, then you're already on your way to learning the language, whatever language that may be. Eli paltuti ima itu mituti. The dead will be numerous. Upon the living. Did you know Babylonian poets sometimes borrowed phrases or lines from each other? The most striking case is that of 4 lines in which the goddess Ishtar threatens to bring up the dead or to devour the living. They occur almost verbatim in the Epic of Gilgamesh, Ishtar's Descent, and Nergal and Ereshkigal. The idea of something being est something seems simply to be conveyed by the context, particularly in conjunction with ina, among. Shur, shu, turaku, inna ilati. Shuturaku ina ilati. So the est can be used by the word ina. So turaku ina ilati. I am very great among the goddesses. Emphatic ma. Man, this chapter's kind of long. How many more things are there? Okay, I'm guessing this is it. I'm guessing. And then there's some summary at the end. Ma. A noun can be emphasized by attaching the particle ma to it. Okay. Ana belitiama taklaku. The particle does not have a direct English counterpart. The emphasis can be rendered in translation by rephrasing, "It is in my lady that I trust." Often omits to say and or. When you feel that one is necessary, simply supply it in translation. Often omits to say and or between nouns. When you feel that one of these is necessary, supply it in translation. Well, what's the word? Okay. Okay. So they don't want to tell me the word, alright. So the suffix ma is used to emphasize it. So this is Old Babylonian. Anna Beltiama Taklaku. I trust in my lady. And then underline the ma, because that's what I'm talking about. And then they don't want to tell me the words for and or. Babylonian has very few compound words. They are formed like genitive constructions, except that the second word does not necessarily have to the genitive any, but it ends in im, or uai, depending on its case, like any normal noun or adjective. Itsem tseru, asharedu, foremost, place, and sole single, foremost. Isem seru, asharedu. Okay, so the most important things, the nominative case, accusative case. Genitive case is used after all prepositions. The grammatical gender about is masculine or feminine. Feminine adjectives, most feminine have T before the value in the dictionary form. In prose, adjectives directly follow the nouns that qualify. In poetry, the adjective can precede them or be separated by them. Adjectives agree in number, gender, and case when the nouns they qualify. Adjectives can be used as nouns. In Old Babylonian, many nouns and adjectives ended in M, mimation, which is lost in later periods of the language. So, as I said, let me try to read. See if I can. I don't know how good this looks, but let me see.